What is up, RFL fans? It is Bill, and I am here with an in-depth walkthrough of this new Madden 22 scouting update system. Now, this has been a long time coming. It's been something that I've been excited for, and I know a lot of you guys have probably been excited for as well. And I just felt it was this update was a great time for us to start adding a little bit more variety to the RFL channel as a whole. And what I mean by that is, you know, we do the live streams, we do the games, we do the college series, you know, we do all these awesome things like the draft. But one thing that's sort of missing is, you know, walkthroughs or how-to videos or tips and tricks, whatever you want to call it. You see them all over YouTube. You got to search for them all the time. But if we can start bringing them to this channel, I thought maybe it would just give our community members and our fans just one more resource to go to, maybe one less click or two to have to make to find what they're looking for. Now, I can't promise this is going to be a weekly thing. I can't promise it's going to be as consistent as I would wish it to be, but I will be trying to do these videos from time to time based off of topics that I feel do not get covered enough, or maybe something that just needs a little bit more explanation than just looking at the screen. Because as you guys know, we spend a lot of time in these franchise files between building teams, preparing for the games every week, streaming the games every week, going through the off season, just day-to-day stuff, and along the way, you pick up on quite a few things. Maybe some things that you wouldn't pick up on if you were only playing the game, you know, an hour a week or 2 hours a week or whatever the case is. So I want to bring that to you guys. And we're going to start off here first with this scouting update. As you guys see here, I have created a franchise file. I did a cloud franchise. I did the real rosters, and I started in preseason. And the reason I started in preseason is if I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong here, I'm pretty sure if you start in week 1, you don't get to scout players right away. You have to wait till week 2. I could be wrong. Don't shoot me if I am, but it could be that case. So I started in preseason week 1. You want to start wherever you want, that's cool. But for the point of showing everything in this scouting update, I need to show you each and every piece of information that is in this file now. So I've already chosen the new file, the auto-generated class. They usually in week 1 will give you the option if you want to upload a file, if you want to use the Madden share, or if you want to use the auto-generated. I just went with the auto-generated because I don't really have another file to use, and I don't want to go through the process of finding a cool one from the Madden share. So let's go right into it here, and let's take a look at what this new system looks like. As you can see, it looks very different. You know, usually a big list of players would just pop up, and you would just get a certain amount of scouting points. You would hit square 3 times, or what is it on Xbox? X? No? I don't know. I don't know what Xbox is. But anyway, you'd hit square 3 times, and you'd unlock their talent and 3 of their positions, or 3 of their best skills. Those days are gone. And now you really have to try and find guys. You have to do some investigating. You have to really read the reports about these guys to be able to identify the players that you want to draft and players that are worthy to be drafted. And that's really the big point of this video, because it's a lot to go through. And I'll be honest, it took me a little bit to understand the whole thing, and I'm still learning. So you might see something that I say in this video that 6 months from now could be very wrong. I'm hoping it's not. I think I have a pretty good understanding of it, but I don't want to pretend that I'm a professional in the scouting update, because I'm not. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's take a look. The first thing we really want to look at, though, the big change, is these scouts that every team has now. You can see that every team has 5 scouts, and you have scouts with certain tiers, regions, and then position expertise. Some of them even have 2 expertise, but that's not that common. There's only a handful that I've seen that have that. So let's start from the front here. You have the tiers. This is the part that tells you how good of a scout they are. Your tier 3, like Brian Townsend here, is going to have the best return when it comes to information about this player's true talent. And you'll see what I mean about that as we go through the process. You have one guy who is a 3, one guy who's a 2, and you have 3 that are tier 1s. This has to stay the same. You always have 3 1s, a 2, and a 3, no matter what. Which is one of the first things that I have somewhat of an issue with. I was really hoping that, if we have this situation, these guys should be upgradable. Or maybe they should be more expensive. Or something that, you can make that decision to bring in more expensive scouts in order to help you with unlocking more talent and more information throughout the prospects. That's one thing I would really like to see enhanced a little bit. But for now, this is what we have to work with. So this is what we have to deal with. So we have the 3, the 2, and the 3 1s. And the next thing to look at here is their position expertise. I know I skipped the region, but we'll get to that in a second. The position expertise is the next important piece, because if they are an expert in these positions that you're targeting, they're going to get a little bit of a bump in how much information. So a tier 1, which is the bottom rank, can unlock an extra 2% of information. Wow, what an extra amount of information, right? 2%. But anyway, they got 2% extra. A tier 2 will have 5% extra, and a tier 3 will have a 10% extra. So that's a big chunk there on tier 3. So right out of the gate, you know that whatever position you find to be the most important position, you need to have your tier 3 scout on, and you want them to be an expert in that position. And you're asking yourself, if you're looking here, you're like, well, I don't want a left tackle. I don't want a tight end. I don't need a middle linebacker. The good thing is, they did add a bunch of free agent scouts. And if you go here to L2, you go down to free agent scouts, you can hire and fire these guys at will. No feelings will be hurt unless you're very sensitive and, maybe you just don't want to fire guys. You're going to have to deal with it, but you can just fire them. They don't care. And bring in whoever you want. And there's no limit on it. There's no saying like you've already fired 3 guys, you can't do it again. You can do this every week if you really want to. It wouldn't really be productive for your scouting, but it can be done. And you can see the really cool part also is you guys might recognize some of these names on this list. This is all like old NFL players, which I thought was really cool. Then we got TJ Hoshmazode and Hujumama. If you don't know, I can't say his name without going back to that fantasy football commercial back in the day. Some guys might know what I'm talking about, but some of you guys might be too young to remember that commercial. Anyway, TJ Houshmandzadeh is one of the wide receiver scouts. You got Tiki Barber as a running back scout. It's just Sean Alexander. It's just so cool to see that they did bring back some of the old players. Well, they didn't really bring them back; they just brought their names back. But you can hire and fire these guys however you want, So the first thing you want to always look at is your scouts. But the second thing is you got to know what you're looking for on your team. You have to know what positions that you're targeting, because that will lead you, let's go back in here, to figure out, do the guys you have work, or do you have to go to the free agents and sign somebody different and find out and get somebody who has expertise in that field? You can, sort them by tier to find them that way. You can sort them by position. The regions are interchangeable, which again, we'll get to in a minute, maybe a couple minutes. I don't know, but you can sign and hire or fire and hire anybody you want to be able to fit what you're looking for in your year-to-year scouting. So right out of the gate, we're going to go ahead and look at the prospects as a whole. So we want to know who are the top positions, right? And another thing you have here now is what we didn't go over yet is the region breakdown. So this is going to show you the different regions in the entire draft class. The nice thing about this is if you look in the bottom right corner, you can see that it's telling you at the national level anyway, because that covers everything, what are the strengths and weaknesses of this draft class. And you can see that strengths are quarterback, cornerback, and right defensive end, and the weaknesses are center, left guard, and middle linebacker. Another cool feature is you can go to west, central, northeast, and southeast, and you can see the individual strengths out of each position. So you know where you should send your scouts right off the bat. Now, I don't think that this is something that you can really rely on fully, but it is a good base to start from to sort of understand. You're not going to want to go and get a left tackle from the west. They just don't have them. You might want to look at the corners or the quarterbacks. But then also, you know, you have other areas like the Northeast where there's some quarterbacks. And what you want to do is once you view this and you sort of have an understanding like, okay, so this is a quarterback heavy draft class, a cornerback heavy, and we also have some possible edge rushers. Let's go and look and see if that plays through on the prospects itself. Oh. And as you can see, it looks like it does. There is 3 top 5 quarterbacks here, with another 3 projected first-round quarterbacks. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of first-round quarterbacks. So as you can tell, this is a very, very top-heavy draft when it comes to the quarterbacks. Not much here for running backs. A couple of guys. A few guys for wide receivers. Looks like a decent class. Nothing too crazy, but looks like you get some solid guys out of there. Not much for tight ends. Not much for left tackle. Not much for left guard. Wow, nothing for centers. They don't even have a 3rd or 4th rounder in the centers. My gosh. Okay. Nothing for right guards. I've noticed this too, and all of the ones that I've done, and every one of them has been different, which is one thing that I can also appreciate is I've started in preseason week 1 every time, and yet I get a different draft class every time that I load in here, which is really cool because as you guys know, if you've played franchise and you do the active, the real rosters from an active week, you always got the same draft class, but now they have it to where it looks like it's rolling who the prospects are on the advance to week 1 after you choose which type of draft class you want. But what I've noticed is that the linemen are really light, like a lot. I've not seen a draft. Wow. Okay, so this is the first time I've seen 2 first-round potential right tackles. Usually it's all day 3 guys. So I don't know. Maybe that's misleading, but it looks like a lot of these classes are going to be really light on the linemen, which is going to end up causing problems in the long run, and you'll see why when we get to it. You can see here that we have a few guys at left end and at right end. And this, right, just like they said, right defensive end, they have 4, 5, 6, 7 potential first-round linemen or early second. That's a lot. And once you get to the other position, they sort of fall off. A couple of D tackles. A couple of, okay, left outside linebackers, not too bad. A top 5. Round 1 to 2, 1 to 2. So first thing I'm noticing here is if you look at their heights and weights, a lot of these guys do not look like actual linebackers. They look like speed rushers or edge rushers. And Madden does not have a good way of deciphering the difference between an edge rusher and an actual linebacker, like a run stopper or pass coverage linebacker. They're all linebackers, all of them. Every single one of them is an outside linebacker. So that's one thing you have to look for. If you're running a 4-3 and you want a guy who can cover, you better not be taking any of these 6'5", 260-pound guys, because I guarantee you they're built like a D-end. They're not going to be, you know, a pass coverage linebacker. But that's a whole different topic. Anyway, there's not a single first-rounder for middle. A decent selection for right outside. Nothing too fancy, but a few first-rounders. We have quite a bit of first-round potential corners, 8 of them to be exact. 3 of them that are looks like they're probably mid to high end first round picks based off of the 1 to 2 here. I'm assuming that must be sort of like the new late first, early second type of grade. Not much for safeties. Okay, so we have a initial thought of what this class is like. Now what we really want to do is we want to figure out where to assign scouts and which positions to focus on. And this is the part where it gets really tricky and you really have to do your homework on what you have available and what you need. Because if you choose the wrong thing or send them to the wrong region, it's pretty much a waste. So let's go ahead and let's review our scouts again. I've obviously chose the Vikings because I know their situation rather well. So I can right away tell you that there's actually quite a few good options here for the scouts. The Brian Townsend probably is going to get released because, as we saw, there was really no good linemen at all. So we really don't want to focus on them too much. So I'm going to go ahead and fire him just by hitting square. He's gone. He's out of there. Middle linebacker is very weak as well, and we don't need one of them. So we're going to go ahead and fire him as well. And that leaves us quarterback, tight end, and corner. 3 positions that I think the Vikings do need. And for this, the purpose of this video, we will, we will target. But because it's such a heavy quarterback class, I think I want to spend a lot of time on the quarterbacks. So what we're going to do is we're going to unfortunately fire Freeman here, even though we want a quarterback scout. And we're going to go and we're going to get a tier 3 quarterback scout. Who do we got? Kenny Ramsey. We're going to bring on Kenny Ramsey by hitting triangle. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to set him as my national scout. This way it covers all quarterbacks. I'm going to know as much as I need to know with the highest graded scout on my quarterbacks, because why would you not want to do that with the quarterbacks? It's the most important position. Kirk Cousins ain't going to live forever. So we got quarterback figured out. That's all taken care of. I don't want to spend a tier 2 on a tight end. I'm sorry, I just don't. So even though we had some good stuff, I'm probably actually going to end up changing all of these guys. Let's go ahead and fire this guy. And we're going to fire Armando too. Sorry. Tier 2 I think would be a good spot to go to for a corner. We saw quite a few corners on the board, and I feel that is a pretty good, a pretty needy position for us. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go get a corner as a tier 2 scout. That's a lot of ones. Okay. We're going to go Rondé Barber. Why not bring on Rondé Barber? So we got Rondé Barber in the building. We have our tier 2 now. We have our tier 3. Now it's the 3-1 tiers. I do think that we should go after the right outside linebackers because that they said it was a strong class for that, even though they're edge rushers. But that is actually more of a need, I think, because of the... the team does need an edge rusher outside of Danielle Hunter. So I think we're going to end up going that route. So let's go back here. And this is one thing, too, that really, really grinds my gears. You can look at this class and all of these scouts, and they don't even have an option for outside linebacker. There's not one scout that's expert opinion or position is that of an outside linebacker. None. This is part of the thing that, keeps Madden fans just like that itch that you just can never scratch, like you almost get the scratch and it sort of relieves the itch, but it just doesn't get the job done. And I feel like that's what this scouting thing is doing right now. Like I said, I really do appreciate the change of pace for the scouting stuff in a franchise, but this to me is just very, very flat and very, very empty. For one, a position expertise. I don't quite understand how, Pedro Sanchez here likes middle linebackers but doesn't know how to scout another linebacker. How does he not look at other linebackers? Or let's look at who else? Well, let's look at Lulu Hernandez. You gonna tell me that Lulu here can't also take care of D tackles? They're already looking at 2 of the positions on the D line. Or Marquez. You mean to tell me Marquez, he knows everything he needs to know about a left guard, but don't you ask him about a right guard. No, sir. He doesn't know it. I see what they're trying to do, but it just leaves a lot to the imagination. A lot of, whys, Why not, if you're going to limit us to 5 scouts, right? Which could be fine if it's done right. Why can't you make the positions less vague? Or more vague, less specific? Why not have a scout that handles interior linemen? So you got left guard, center, and right guard. Or tackles. So right tackle, left tackle, or just the line in general. Why not have a scout that can do not only tight ends, but they also look at receivers? Because let's face it, nowadays tight ends, they're just bigger, slower receivers. Or, somebody on defense, like Chris Stokes, that can look at all the linebackers. It leaves a lot to it leaves a lot of stuff on the table there for people to be upset about, and I can see why. It does upset me a little bit. Like, you're already limiting us to the 5, which, again, I appreciate the change. But as I said earlier in this video, I am going to be giving my opinions on this, and there are quite a few things that I thought could be done differently, especially for how long we had to wait for this update, and this is one of them. You're not telling me that the Minnesota Vikings in real life have a scout that knows a bunch of stuff about middle linebackers but doesn't know how to tell what an outside linebacker is good at. It just it's not realistic at all, you know? And then to add to the fact that you don't even have outside linebacker as a position of expertise. So now, no matter how many outside linebackers are in a draft class, how badly you need one, you will never get that tier, that 10% boost, 5% boost, or 1% or 2% boost off of an outside linebacker. That is 2 key positions on a field. Actually, 4 key positions, because a lot of the outside backers can also fall down to the line to be 4-3 edge rushers. So that's almost 4 positions right there that you are taking off the board by making such a weird mistake. Why would you not have them? Do we need 4 middle linebacker scouts in the game? I mean, in my mind, if you're going to have all these tiers, you should have a tier. Like, they should just be there all the time, and there should be a tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 at each individual position for every position. So that way you can choose whatever you want. So again, that was my first rant of this scouting update. Hopefully it gets updated. Hopefully they change it around a little bit, maybe add something to it. But for right now, we're stuck with some limited capacity. So we're going to go ahead and bring on Salvador Ortega as one of our scouts. And he's going to have to be the outside linebacker guy. Maybe, who knows? Maybe he'll still give us a boost because outside linebackers are still linebackers. I doubt it, but it's worth a shot, right? So we have the middle linebacker, we have the corner, we have the quarterback. Another one I do want to take a look at is possibly wide receiver, because, you know, Adam Thielen isn't getting any younger, and our third receiver spot is pretty light. So let's go ahead and we'll bring in Carson Monk here. Carson Monk at wide receiver. And our last spot, I'm actually going to take Eric Yu for tight end. Reason for that is tight ends are somebody that I could probably potentially take later on in the draft, maybe mid rounds. And we know that the linemen are just shot. There's no point even trying to look at linemen. So let's not waste one of our 5 scouts on linemen. Okay. So now we've went over the region breakdown. We've went over the scouts. We've taken a quick peek at the prospects. Now, the very last step, and this is really where most of your work is going to get done, is in this first week. Because not only do you have to get the right scouts, you have to investigate the prospects to know what kind of prospects you have available to you. Then you also have to nail down where you want these scouts to go for these positions, because in week 2, next week, you have to make that choice and you can't change it. So now that we know who we have for scouts, let's go and find out who we have for areas of who is in areas of need. Like, where is the Southeast the biggest spot to go for middle linebacker? Is, you know, Central the best for corners? That's what we have to figure out. Let's go ahead and take a look at the prospects again. So as I said before, you have to go by region here. You can see where you have this drop down on L2, and you can choose which region to go to, and also sort by position. So this is how you're going to figure out, where am I sending my quarterback scout? Where am I sending my receiver scout? And are they going to have enough prospects to look at that are going to help me on draft day? So you also have to sort of be wondering of, where are you expecting to target these guys? Are you looking for a first round receiver, or are you looking for a second or third rounder? Are you looking for a first round quarterback, or are you looking for a reserve backup kind of guy in the mid rounds? So for quarterback, obviously, we know Madden, you can't be drafting no third round quarterback and expect anything above a 62 half the time. Actually, probably less than half the time. So we are going to spend the national one there, unless I can see that all of these quarterbacks are in one region. So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 first round quarterbacks, potential first round quarterbacks. How many of them are in each region? You can see here that both of the top 5s are in the Northeast, Terence, Dale, and Daniel Donald. So that's interesting. You have nobody in the Southeast. A top 5 and 2 other first rounders in the Central, which is another really good area. And then a first rounder in the West. So what you could do is you say, you know what? Let's just take the one with the most and let's go to the Central. Sorry, Central. And let's just scout these guys. And who knows? Maybe that's the best choice. It could be. Instead of spending the National on that, we could put the National at another spot like wide receiver where there's a whole lot of different prospects, or corner with the same. But right now what we know is that there's 6 different quarterbacks we could potentially try to take, and at most we have 3 in one area that we're interested in. So let's go and check out the wide receivers now. Again, a good 6 guys are first round worthy. But really, if we are aiming at a quarterback in the first round, we're probably not aiming at a receiver in the first round. So we want this 2, 3, 3, 4 guys. So we have 2 3s. How many? A good chunk. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 guys in the 2 and 3 area. And then just 2 guys. So let's just say 9 guys before day 3. So where's 9 guys that we might want to look at, because we know we're going to spend a first rounder on a quarterback that we need to know. So 9 guys from 2 to day 3. Let's see about region breakdown. So this one has 2 guys, Northeast. Remember, we're going rounds 2, 3, and then round 3, 4, because first round we're already dedicating that to a quarterback at this point. That might change, but for this purpose, we are looking at second and third round options. This one has 4 of them in the Southeast. Only 1 in the Central. And then 2 in the West. So out of the 9, almost a little less than half of them are in the Southeast. 1, 2, 3, 4. What we could do is we could go back to quarterback here, and we could look at the other regions that we weren't going to hit, right? So these guys, 2 top 5s, do we really want to miss them? You know? And what I mean by that is, do we want to consider maybe scouting a region for quarterbacks instead of national? But then you take the chance of losing out on 2 top 5 quarterbacks. So these are the tough decisions that you actually have to make now. Do you want to spend all of your efforts on a quarterback? Do you want to identify receivers you can take throughout the second and third or maybe fourth round? It's tough decisions, especially when you don't know what these guys are like. You don't even know where you're going to pick. I mean, this is week 1 for crying out loud. So you also have to have somewhat of an idea of, I need to have enough information to be able to make changes on the fly for who I want. So I still think, for the sake of this, to make it simple, we're going to keep quarterbacks as the number 1 scout, the national scout tier 3, because we need to find our future quarterback. All right, so we know that that's going to be it. So we're going to go back right away. Scouts. And right here, okay, we already said it. We know. Ramsey, you are taking the entire nation, buddy. You are looking at every quarterback that is coming out of this class. We need to know everything. Now let's move on and let's find out who... Okay, so tier 2 is corner. I just remembered that. Let's go and see where the corners are strongest, because now we can't do national again. That's another part that I'm not too happy about. Okay, let's get into that for a second. The regions. You can have 1 scout per region, right? Which I know that scouts do have regions. I know that that's a thing. If a real NFL franchise came into the season and they needed a quarterback and they needed a wide receiver, and all of the top guys for both of those positions played in, let's say, the Southeast, you don't think that the team is gonna, hey, I know that you were in the West last year, but all the talent's in the Southeast. We need you to go down there with what's his name here, Rondé here. You and Rondé both need to go to the Southeast because that's where a lot of the talent is. Like, why can't we double a region? If I want to put every single person I want in the Southeast, and I'm saying the Southeast because we all know that's where a huge, huge chunk of NFL prospects come from. A huge chunk of them. I mean, look at the region breakdown on that. Look at that. Look at the states that are in there. I mean, that's a huge chunk of all of the talent that the NFL brings in. So why can't I send 2 scouts to the Southeast? You know? That's my choice. I don't like that. I just don't like that. And I'll show you right here, if you try to, see, like, okay, let's set Rondé to Southeast, right? If I go up here and say, Salvador, you're going to the Southeast too, it takes it away from Rondé. You can only set 1 scout per region, which is where this gets really difficult. So you guys got to make sure that you're paying attention to that portion, because this is another spot where Madden dropped the ball, unfortunately. So with that in mind, and second rant done for the video, let's go back and let's take a look at corners and where we are going to send our tier 2 scout for the cornerbacks. We got to go back to prospects, and we're going to go straight to the corners. Again, this one is wide-ranging. 8 potential first-round picks. This is probably deeper than quarterback, but quarterback is more important, so that's why he's national. We have a total of 13 guys before day 3. So I do want to try to find somebody within the first 2 days of the draft to bring in. So we have 13 guys, 8 of which are all potential first-rounders. So where are all these guys? Let's go to the Northeast. You have 2 of the 13, 1 of the 8 for the first round. So that Northeast is obviously not going to be the place to be. The Southeast? The Southeast actually has quite a bit of good ones. They have a couple of the first rounders that could fall, a few of the second rounders, and a third, fourth. 6 of the 13. So again, just a little bit less than half. A very, very formidable one. Again, Southeast. I bet we're going to see that again with another position group. I'm telling you right now. Central has a few first rounders and then duds. And now if we just wanted to focus on a top tier one, maybe we go Central, but we already focused on quarterback in round 1. We're not going to be able to probably get one of these top picks here for corners. So we got West, which again, a couple of guys and then duds. So it looks like Southeast has to be the spot we go for this scout. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go back to our scouts, and we're going to set tier 2 scout, Rondé Barber. You're going to the Southeast. And now it's down to the 3-1 scouts. We have Eric Yu for the tight ends. We have Carson Monk for the wide receivers. And then we have Salvador Ortega for the middle linebackers, who we know is going to be the right outside linebackers, because Madden, once again, gives us all of these rules to play by, but doesn't give us the full playing deck to use. Man, that's a ball to drop right there, EA. It really is. Back to the prospects. Let's look at wide receivers. Again, wide receivers, we have quite a few areas. We have 6 first-round guys. Another 6 or 7. This is a deep class here. This is a very deep class. 15 guys altogether before day 3. 13 of them being rounds 3 and above. And 6 of them being first rounders. So I'm hoping that the Southeast doesn't take all of these guys too. But I have a feeling they're going to, because like I said, the Southeast is just the region to be when it comes to college football players. So the Northeast has 4 of them. And yes, of course, 6 of them are in the Southeast. Central has 2. And West has 3. Yeah. So I guess out of this, I guess we're going to have to go with Northeast. We can't go Southeast again, as much as Southeast would be a better positioning for us when it comes to options. And I guess maybe we can just try to find certain players. You know, maybe we do that instead. You know, certain builds that we might like over others. I say let's go Northeast. You know, there's a lot of day 3 guys. We might be able to find another guy that's, you know, hidden, you know, a hidden talent later in the draft. And maybe we can find somebody in the mid rounds or later to pick up out of that position and not have a total waste on a scout. So we'll go back and we'll set the wide receiver scouts to be in the northeast. And then we have outside linebacker and tight end left. I don't even think I've really looked at the tight ends yet. Oh, why did I go back to the scouts? Okay. So let's take a look at the tight ends. A couple of guys that we can look at. Lamar Barton right off the bat stands out to me. Same with Gary Allen. Oh, and Denzel Reed. A lot of big-bodied guys. Brian Penn. So we have a lot of guys. I'm hoping... It looks like a lot of these guys are in the West. You guys see this? We got Utah, California, Nevada. Well, not Florida. USC. Okay, let's see. We got 7 potential tight ends to be draftable. And the West has 4 of them. Yeah, so there we go. Tight ends that go to the West. So now we'll go back to the scouts. We got Eric Yu here. And you're going west there, bud. You're going to the West. And now we already know that outside linebacker has to go to Central because there's no other option and we can't double up. So let's go back and let's just see. Is Central even something worthwhile with a linebacker? Hopefully it is. Because if not, we're going to waste our time. So we're going to go straight to Central. We're not even going to look at anything else. We're going to go right over here to right outside linebacker. They have nobody. Nobody in Central. Wow. Wow. And this is part of what I was talking about before of how unrealistic this really is. How are you supposed to justify that? So you're mean to tell me that we have a linebacker scout who for some reason only knows how to do middle linebackers that now has to go to a central position that has a grand total of 1 draftable player out of 3 different position groups instead of sending him somewhere else that actually has players. That's crazy to me. Look at all the players in the Southeast again. Why would we not be able to send 2 guys to the Southeast? Absolute mania. That's just crazy to me. And then there's still day 3 guys in the Southeast. I mean, at least you could make scouts being able to go somewhere that has a lot of the talent. It's no secret. It's not fair. The West and the Central are just not big-time schools where all of the prospects are going. If they're not going to Texas, they're going to the Southeast. They're going to Florida, Miami, FSU, Georgia. You know, they're Clemson. They're going to all these places. LSU, Alabama. They're not wasting their time going to Utah. Why can we not double up a scout for a region? It's insane to me. So let's just see. Is there anything good that the Central has? You know, can we at least maybe change up our scout? They don't really have safeties. They have a few guys. Nope, nobody there really. They don't have D tackles. They have a few right ends. Oops. A couple left ends. Nobody. Not even receivers. What about halfbacks? Barely even have... Well, they have a decent amount of halfbacks, I guess. Why don't we do that? Screw it. Let's just take a halfback. We're gonna scout halfbacks this year because apparently we can't have linebackers. Like, I know that I could keep them there and I could send him as, you know, we could still get a couple of guys. But if you're already limited so much, at least you want to know what you're picking. So I would say, in all seriousness, to try and get something more of need, let's get a defensive end position. Here, Zach Strickland. Perfect. And we'll set the Central 2 left ends, just because at least there's a few guys there at the right end position, and as you can see, his position expertise 2 slot is the right end. so we can at least get some type of prospect pooling out of there. And another key piece here, and sort of in the name, if you look down to the left, you'll see the key info button if you hit triangle. This is going to tell you every week that's very important in this scouting update. I should have went over this earlier, but I forgot about it. I got into it, and you know, next thing you know, we're a half hour in. But this here is very important to what you can't skip, what you can skip. Week 1, we already did. Prospects become available, that's where we're at. As you can see, week 2, select position focus for area scouts. So you have to select the position that they are going to scout and where they're going to scout. That's why we had to set them already in what region they were going to, because we can't change that afterwards. And then it doesn't really get interesting again until week 8, where you can pick the position for national scout. And then it goes pretty sporadic up until the draft. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to sim to week 2. Now you can also check over here for the stories still. They still do offer the little tidbits of the reactions and the stories, but it seems to be a little bit less now that they have this new upgrade. It just seems like they're not really doing that as much. One of the drafts I didn't even know who the Heisman winner was. It didn't tell me. I watched every week, so it was, who knows, maybe they just didn't have one that year. I also could have just got some duds before I did this video. But anyway, let's go ahead and advance to week 2 so we can select our regions and our positions. So you'll see here, regional focus scouting. Always, always, always make sure you do not click on scout college players first. If you do, it's going to sim what you're doing up here. It'll just, you won't be able to pick, and it'll auto assign, and it's going to be horrible. So please do not do that. Make sure you always choose the individual scouting thing first, and make sure you know what week you're in. So we're going to click on regional scouting. Always choose them yourself. Do not delegate. It's just as bad as simming it. Okay, and as you can see here, our national scout is still locked. That's in week 8, but everybody else is unlocked here. It says here with triangle, we can select a focus position. We know that in the West, we got our guy covering tight ends out there. So Eric, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna set you to tight ends. Boom. Focus position for the scout was assigned. And you just gotta do that for each one. So we have right ends here for Strickland in the Central. We have wide receivers here for Monk in the Northeast. We have corners in the Southeast. And as you can see, you can click on it there to sort of see that region, and it'll give you just a little reminder there if you click X instead of triangle to see what is there if you want to make any last minute choices. But again, we're going to go ahead and we're going to submit this. So now all of our players are set except our national scout, which again will not come up until week 8. So now, if we go back and look at this key info, you can see that we really don't have anything to worry about until week 7. And even then, it's nothing you have to do. It's just that there's some extra stats released, like maybe one extra attribute. And I'll show you what I mean right now, because if you go to the prospects, okay, if you hit on prospects here, this is what the screen looks like now for prospects instead of what you saw in the past. And I really like this. I think this is something that they can really build off of and make this something awesome for us to use in the future. It just is not there yet, but you'll see what I'm talking about. So you go on and click on a player here. We got Terence Dale. He's supposed to be the best player in the draft, top 5 projection. It'll have top fits right there on the board for him. I'm not sure how in-depth they go, or if that's just which 3 teams are currently listed to be picking there. But I'm not too keen on that being very thought out. Anyway, you can see here under player notes, it has a whole bunch of stuff here. Now, what I've picked up on between doing this and watching my videos or videos on my own of other people, this is all based off of the traits in the game. So now, if you read here, never seen a window he won't throw into. So if you think about the passing style, they all have like conservative, aggressive, balanced. That's telling you he's an aggressive thrower. He's gonna whip that thing. He's not afraid of a tight window. Beautiful spiral on all of his passes. He's got tight spiral. Calm but aware of defenders while in the pocket. So that might be like an ideal pocket presence. You know, it's not a trigger happy one. It's telling you he's good in the pocket, knows when to throw a ball away. He's got the throw a ball away trait. will break the pocket occasionally to throw. Now, this one is about the QB style. You have pocket, balanced, and scrambling. Now, if it's scrambling, it's going to say leaves the pocket, runs crazy, yada yada. If it says pocket, it'll tell you pocket straight out. This one here is telling you that will break the pocket occasionally. That's a balanced quarterback style. And then very fast and violent whip throwing motion. It's telling you what type of release he has. I'm not sure which one that's pertaining to, but that is which one it is. And as you guys go through these draft classes and you do these more often, you'll start to pick up on what notes mean what and what trait they're referring to help you make sense of it all as you're going through each position. And then you can go over to the physicals here. And the ratings initially on the far left are telling you what range this player will be in. So starting at the top, this quarterback is going to have poor to marginal acceleration. And here is the breakdown of what that is. Poor marginal, you're bottom of the barrel. You know, decent, solid, middle of the pack, you're getting a good, great, and elite. That's where you're going to have high ratings. And you can see on the right-hand side, it says, example, a corner with 80 man coverage will have an A man coverage. So it gives you a general idea of where you can expect ratings to be based off of the number or the word grade that they give them here on the ratings panel. Now this will change. Oh, sorry, I went back out. This will change based off of their combine and their pro day performance. Those dashes will go away and one of them will stay. Maybe they have marginal acceleration and they end up with solid agility, or maybe they end up with poor acceleration and good agility. Those will change based off of how they perform in the combine and the pro day. But that again will not unlock until way later after the season is over. And then the skills here. You can see it's got a whole bunch of question marks, and then it's got some of them unlocked. It tells you certain ones, and they will slowly unlock throughout the series depending on what percent scouted they are. You can see where it says 20% scouted up in the top corner. Now the scouts that you have assigned to certain positions in certain areas, that percentage is going to go up a lot higher than the ones you're not covered. The ones you're not covered are going to max at 40%. It's not a lot. So you have to be very, very specific on what you're trying to get done in this draft every year. It's not something you can sim anymore. We're going to go ahead and we're going to sim to week 7, and then we will go over from there what to do with the National Scout and how much stuff really unlocks in week 7. Okay, so we are here in week 7 now, and as you can see, we're not doing too good. We're 0-6. Well, hopefully that means that we can at least get a good draft pick. My gosh, my Vikings are pitiful. Anyway, so now, like I said, there isn't a lot of stuff that you have to do in week 7. It's just where there's more information given from the National Scout on the on players, and that goes for everybody. This is where that percent scouted is going to go from 20 up to, I believe, 40. So let's go ahead and see if I'm remembering this correctly. Yep, perfect. As you can see now, we have a lot more 50s, 40s, 59s even on some. Nobody is below 40 at this point, no matter what position was it. But this is all. So these players that are at, like running backs, we didn't do running backs. You're only getting 40 of these guys, 40% of these guys, unless you focus players, which we will go over on shortly here. But for now, we're just focused on the National Scout. So let's go ahead and we're going to get to week 8 so that we can set our National Scout to our quarterbacks and get that extra boost from the quarterbacks. At least we're in a bye week, I think, so we can't lose again, can we? Yeah, we had a bye week. Okay, so now we just lose this week. Anyway, as you can see here, the top thing too now says mock draft 2. Don't even worry about them. We can go over them later, but it's taking the current standings and putting it in a mock draft. And at week 8, you have no clue who's going to be the number 1 pick yet. You might have an idea of who might be there, but things are going to change so drastically that there's no point even looking at it. I'll show you what it looks like after we choose the National Scout for focus player or focus position, but for now, we're not going to worry about that. So Scout National Focus, again, always choose. Do not delegate this. And as you can see, everything else is already set. You can't change these. Well, I guess you can change. Oh, no, you can't. It's just national. So everything's locked in. This is why it is so important to never skip them, because it will automatically choose a position for you. And one of them I did, every one of them did quarterbacks because it was the first section, the first selection of positions. So when you click triangle, the first selection is quarterbacks. So that's what it did for all of the scouts. So the only positions I had scouted were the quarterbacks, which wasn't very good. But anyway, we're going to choose the national position, which is quarterback. He is good. So now everybody is in place. Now go back to the key info. We know now that week 11 is the next one we have to look at. That is where you have the super focus. And I will have another rant on that when we get to that one. I think I've had 2 so far. We're going to have at least another 1 or 2 of them. So let's go ahead and get over to week 11 now. All right, we are at week 11. And now you can see the scouting focus. And hey, look at that. We won a game. Now we're 1-8. Look at that. Moving on up in the world. I'm just taking L's all over the place, man. You guys have been on me about the Badgers, and now I'm in this fake franchise, and my Vikings can't even win a game? Well, they can win 1? Man. But anyway, let's take a look at this focus player and what this is. And I gotta tell you guys, this is another one where I'm gonna be upset. But again, this is important to remember here. You see that they have scouting focus player and scout college players. If you select college players first, right here, to just go to the board, it will simulate or choose for you the focus player and you won't get to choose. So do not do that. If there's an extra thing for scouting, always, always, always click on that first, unless it's a mock draft because nobody cares about them. So I do not want to click college players. I want to click focus player because I don't want the computer to choose that for me. Computer has no clue what it's doing. It never has. It probably never will, unfortunately. So scout focus player. Again, always choose your own focus players. Okay, so we are in the screen now to choose our focus players. And before we even get started, this is one of the other rants that I have about this scouting update that I want to get off my chest. And, obviously I want to hear you guys' opinions too in the comments. I don't know who made this call about having 3 players to choose from, in which, you get another one. You get the private workouts later, which is another 3 players. It's the same as this focus scouting. But I have never met a single franchise. Well, obviously, I've never met anybody that runs a franchise, but I have never seen a single franchise. I can't comprehend that anybody in any professional sport has ever said, you know what, there's 400-something players that we could draft, and we have, 10 picks. Let's look at 6 of them. Let's just focus on 6. Because we're not going to cover the other 4, we don't care, and those 6 guys are going to be there when we want to take them. That doesn't even make sense to me. Makes no sense. I don't know how this was decided, but this is not enough focus players. It's just not. 6 players out of the whole season that we can focus on. Yes, you have the 5 scouts, but this should be a bigger list. Like, I know following the Vikings, they have this thing called their top 30 visit, where they take the top 30 prospects that they're looking at, that they're interested in learning more about. It could be players that they don't think they'll be there for them, but they just want to do their due diligence. It might be players that they are thinking about later on that they want to learn more about to potentially draft them. But they bring in a good chunk of players. And that's bringing them to the facility, doing the workouts, yada yada, those sort of things. How do we get 6? Like, I don't know what other franchises do. I don't even know what the Vikings do. I just know from what I watch all offseason, they do a big 30 visit. But we got 6. So that's another part of my rant here. I can't remember if there's some more stuff, but I'll remember it if I see it that I want to go over. And again, I want to get your guys' opinions on this. Let us know in the comments below. What do you guys think of this? Do you think it's sufficient? Does it need more? To me, I think that this is a step in the right direction, but again, it just falls short. Like, it seems every single time something new is given to us in Madden, it always falls short to some degree. And it's just infuriating at this point. You stick us to a certain region, even if the players are crap there. You only give us 5 scouts. You don't even have scouts that can cover every position. And then the scouts are determined to one position and not a position group. Again, you give us the new information, you give us the new stuff to do, but yet you leave all of us just wanting that much more. It's just unfortunate. Anyway, let's talk about these focus players. So here, you're going to choose 3 players that you want to get a little bit more information on. Now, you can go ahead and choose a player that maybe, I don't know, is the 80% done quarterback to get 100% done on him. You could pick the 40% corner that's out of the region, but you're interested in him. You could go for a position you didn't even put a scout at to try and get some extra information about potential late round flyers. You could do whatever you want. For the sake of this video, I'm going to try to spread it out, right? So let's go to quarterbacks here. And we're going to choose one of these quarterbacks. Let's do Terence Dale. We're going to choose him as one of our focus players, okay? He's 80% done. Let's see what else we can learn about him. Let's go to running backs. We didn't even scout running backs. But maybe we want to take one later. You know, maybe on day 3. And let's learn a little bit more about... Who else we got here? Deion Fisher, who's 234. Adrian Tom. No, he's a smaller back. Who do we want to do here? We're not going to do undrafted guys. Those are just guys you're just going to have to take chances on. Let's do... Well, Adrian Thomas flew up the board. Julius Lamb fell a little bit, so I didn't want to touch him. Let's do Greg Edwards. We'll do Greg Edwards. So we're going to choose him. And then let's go to one of the other positions that we have, but maybe let's do... What region did we do for receivers again? Was it Northeast? Yeah, it was Northeast. Okay. Let's find a guy in here that we want to look at. Let's do... Maybe let's not do a receiver. What do we got for tight ends? What did we do for tight ends? Was it West? Yeah, it was West. Let's do Lamar Barton. Let's do Lamar Barton. So those are our 3 players. Once you click them, though, you have to hit the triangle button. You can't just hit back. You have to hit triangle. This screen will pop up. Are you sure you want to do these 3 players? It'll list them there for you. You're going to hit yes. And then you're done. And now it's not going to take right away. You can see it's still 80% there. And if you go all the way down to Greg Edwards, it's still 40% there. You have to wait, you know, to see it in action. I think it's after you advance a week, it could be. Again, key information. We're in week 11 now. Now, there's nothing until the off season. Nothing at all. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to sim straight to free agency stage 2. And for those wondering, because there is a free agency 2, this is technically free agency stage 1 because that's the second stage in the off season. So it's not stage 2 free agency. It's the second off season tab, which is technically free agency 1. So I mean, I know it's pretty apparent, but I just wanted to put that out there because it is, if you're not paying attention, you could pass over it or something like that. So again, we're going to go ahead, we're going to sim to stage 2, and then we'll pick things up there. Okay, so we are here in off-season free agency stage 1. As you can see here, the combine results are now in at stage 1. So we're going to go ahead and click on them to be able to see what we found out. And as you can see here, which is interesting, is that extra percentage, we didn't get anything else from doing that, that investigating with the focus scouting. So I don't know if that unlocks later, if that just unlocks an extra key rating. I'm not 100% sure, but as you can see here, this is where now you see on the rating section, like here for Greg Edwards, how now that the combine is in, it's changed his ratings. Instead of the hyphen for the range, it gives you the exact spot. So he has decent speed, he's got good strength, he's got decent agility, he's got good acceleration. If we'd have looked at it before, maybe it would have said decent, good, marginal, decent, whatever the case. But now it's in, we know what he's done. It could change again after the pro day, but for right now, that's what we have. And you can look here, because again, he's only 40%, so every 10% is one of these uncovered. So you're never going to get all of them. But you can see here that his awareness is C, his trucking is A, and his carrying is B. So a couple of decent ones. for, you know, a late round flyer running back, but not much else to really have to really go over here yet. So we will go ahead and what else do they have? I think they had I'll just show you the mock draft just so you can see it if you haven't already. Oh, that's not what I wanted. This is what the mock drafts look like. This was the first one, the second one, third one, and we're oh yeah, by the way, guys, we were horrible. 4-13. As you can see, we got the number 2 overall pick. They have us taking a corner. I don't know if that'll be the case. I'm pretty sure we're still going to take Terence Daniel. Depending on who the Philadelphia Eagles take, we're probably going to take a quarterback here. I'm hoping we find out a little bit more about them. But there's 2 more mock drafts that will be coming out before the draft happens. Mock draft 5 is probably actually something good to go off of. The reason for that is I'll show you when we get there, and I'll show you when the draft unfolds why that's a good thing to look at. So let's just go back out of here and let's go ahead and advance to this one. Okay. So now you can see the Pro Day results and Mock Draft 4 comes out. So now the Pro Day results are out along with the extra mock draft. And I will show you what this shows us in the player card here. So now you can start to see that ratings are starting to unlock more so for certain players. And now you got 2 of them. You have the Combine and you have the Pro Day. And you can see where they sort of stack up against each other. For the most part, they're going to be pretty similar. You could see something a little bit different. You can see here Daniel Donald's got great throw power. He's got solid strength. He's got decent speed. You go down to Terence Dale here, who's the guy that we've sort of been using as our guinea pig of sorts. He is not a mobile guy. You know, you can tell that based off of his speed here. He'll break the pocket, but he's a pocket guy. And based off his skills, you can see he's got good accuracy short, good awareness, doesn't throw on the run very well, and he doesn't have any kind of fancy moves. So your prototypical, you know, pocket passer with a little bit of wiggle in him. Let's see if anything changed for Edwards here, which was one of our focus players. Again, I don't think we're going to draft him. I just wanted to use somebody that wasn't included in our normal information to see if we can, you know, get some more information from them out of like a player that we didn't have set aside scouting. You can see that he improved drastically in his 40 time. His speed is still decent, so I don't think the ratings change after the Combine comes out, because obviously I think they're going to go off the Combine more, because we all know the college pro days, they're usually a little bit more lenient in making sure the players look as best as possible. So I don't know if they're something we can really go off of as gold. All right, so now what I want to do is we want to get to the private workouts, which is the recap, free agency recap, which is also the last spot for players, for you to see things, I think, because after that you're pretty much drafting. So we're gonna go ahead and we are going to advance, and here we are at private workouts. Okay, so I was wrong. It's the very next week. So now private workouts, it's the same thing as the focus players. Again, always choose them yourself. And look at, you get 3 players that you can do this for. How special. I still haven't seen anything happen to Terence Dale. Nothing new has come out about these guys. We have Terence Dale, Greg Edwards, which are both still 40%. But Lamar Barton yet is an 89. I am so confused as to how this works. We selected Terence Dale, who didn't get anything else unlocked. We also selected Greg Edwards, who didn't have anything else unlocked. And then we have this tight end, who all of a sudden has another 30 points or 30% on him. Yeah, I'm not really sure what to make of this. Is this thing broken? Or what? Because it wasn't like we saw the confirmation screen. I had those 3 players chosen. I had them all selected. We haven't touched anything since. The only one that wasn't already being scouted was the running back. But neither him nor Terence Dale changed in terms of completion for scouting. What I'm going to do here is we're going to choose Terence Dale again. And we are going to choose... I was hoping to find somebody else to sort of key in on. Let's find one of these receivers that we didn't really get a chance to scout because they weren't in our selected region. Because we really don't have any big-body guys. This draft really doesn't have a lot of big-bodied receivers. Am I just missing them? They don't. See, when I'm thinking big body, I'm not thinking like 215 pounds. I'm thinking like 6'4", 6'5". But I don't see that anywhere. Nick Baskett is one, sort of. 6'2", 220. 6'3", 234 for Tavares Webster. Maybe we look at him. I don't really see anybody else. Oh, there's not. Wow. Oh, there's one person here, Jonathan Thomas. We're going to do Jonathan Thomas. So he'll be one of them. And then let's go to corners once. And actually, no. I'm just curious. If we select Barton here, does he get up to 100%? I'm still learning here, guys. I really am. Because there's a few different ways you can do this. And I tried a couple of different ways. So I am still experimenting. So let's just see what happens here. So again, we're going to click this. All 3 players are there. We're going to click yes. I don't know. Maybe now after this one it'll take effect. Okay, and now we're at offseason stage 4. And now the final mock draft is out. Of course, we can still scout college players. So we're going to go ahead straight in here because I want to see if any of this scouting stuff is working. Again, nothing changed with Terence Dale. Nothing. What about that wide receiver that I keyed in on? What was his name? Jonathan Thomas. Nothing changed there either. Look at that. He's still 40%. The tight end? 100%. Why is it only working on the tight end? I'm wondering if you have... But no, see, this is why I know that that's not the case. I was going to say, maybe it's because we didn't do halfbacks, right? But then why wouldn't the wide receiver change? You can say it's outside of our area, but this isn't. Terence Dale is not outside of our area. We did national for the quarterback, so everybody in the quarterback position was done. So I don't think I messed this up. I think this game isn't working properly. How is Lamar Barton all done? Is it because I did him twice? But why was there no... No, there wasn't, because he had 89 after the first one. So how is that happening? So this is the stuff that just drives me nuts. How does this not work properly? I mean, if I'm wrong, let me know. You guys can tell me in the comments. I don't care if I'm wrong. But I did testing on this, and this is the first time I've ever had 100% completion on somebody. And I had to focus him twice to get that. But I focused Terence Dale twice, and he's on my national scout, and he's a tier 3 scout, and I didn't get 100% on him? I'm really hoping that I sim to this draft and like something didn't click like it was supposed to, and it's there, because that is absolute insanity. If you only get 6 focus players total, and then half of them. So now what you're telling me is 4 of my 6 upgrades didn't work, and the 2 of else I had I used on the same player just to get to 100%. That, again, was on a tier 1 scout. The tier 3 scout doesn't even get to 100% after doing the focus on him twice. That's insane. That's crazy. That's unacceptable. I really hope that I'm wrong here. I hope that I'm just overreacting and I missed something. And I'm also hoping that when I go to this draft that something else clicks and I get more percentage done, because that's horrible if it's not the case. So now that that's done, as you can see here, everything is done in terms of the key information, the key areas. Now it's just the time to draft. Okay, so the very last thing that I wanted us to touch on before we go into the draft itself is I mentioned the mock drafts before. For the most part, these things are not very helpful at all, but what I have noticed in the couple of sims that I ran before this is if you look at the latest mock draft, it's honestly going to tell you where guys are going before you. And they will follow it almost to a T. I have yet to see a player get picked that wasn't listed to go in that position on the mock draft. So I'm pretty sure Mcdonald is going to go to Philadelphia. It has us choosing Justin Belton, the corner out of Colorado, but I just don't see that being a better option for us than Terence Dale. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Now it almost has me wonder if maybe I should take Justin Belton. We said we needed a corner. We do have Kirk Cousins for another year. We have Kellen Mond. Let's take a look at some of these quarterbacks yet. Maybe we do. But anyway, I just wanted to show you guys this. Don't listen to the ones before 5. If you want to really look, you might be able to see what players are going to go before you so you can better position yourself in the draft if you want to. Because, like I said, the last draft I did, I was pick 14, I think. And every single player went exactly where they said they would in this mock draft. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. So let's go ahead now and see, this is why I don't know if we can take him, because look at all these quarterbacks that are probably going to go. That's a lot of quarterbacks going. If we go all the way back here, there's not going to be anybody left. So I have a feeling we might be going Terence Dale. We're going to take one last look, though, when we get to the draft. We'll have a little bit of fun towards the end of this video, because we are coming to the end of this. You've pretty much saw everything you need to see. So, I mean, at this point, if you want to check out, you're more than welcome to. But I want to see this through. We're going to do this draft quick and see what kind of players we found based off of the scouting that we did. Again, I am still very, very upset about that whole focus player thing, because that was just outrageous. I'm really hoping that once we go to the draft itself that something unlocks that we missed the first time or didn't take the first time and gives me something else, because otherwise that was just a huge waste. Why would it only work for the tight ends? I really hope somebody has an answer too. If I did something wrong, let me know. But it makes no sense that the tight end it worked for, but nobody else it worked for. It was specifically why I did a player that we didn't scout, we did a player we did scout, and we did a player that we scouted but was out of our region. So we pretty much touched on everything. And the only one that worked was the tight end that was in our region. So does it only work for the players in our region? But then Terence Dale, who was in our region, didn't affect him at all. So I guess we'll find out. Okay, now it's the last one before the draft. Let's just take a look and see if now anything changed. No, still 80. Still 80 on Terence Dale. We still don't know what his deal is. We know that Justin Belton is supposed to be the best corner. Let's just see. Is he this much of a freak athlete? B man and A zone. Okay. But he only has good speed. Not bad, but it's middle of the pack. We really got a good look, though. This is something that I guess I didn't pick up on before, but you can see how it sort of randomly selects the things it unlocks. But here on this one, it unlocked man and zone, which I know that's not everything on a corner, but those are two very, very important parts. And this is somebody that was outside of our region. So you might still be able to find guys. It's just going to take longer. It's not going to be just, draft this player, go to the recap. You're going to have to look and see who's available yet. So this is the part where I like it more, because I could very well miss on half my picks, but that's the point of the draft. So if there's anything that Madden got right here, is that guys are going to not be drafting all 80 superstars in their drafts. Though you probably will still find some, depending on how well you can scout, how you can get this to work. Of course, there's many different ways to do this from what I did. I'm just giving you an example. You could have doubled down on quarterbacks. You could have doubled down on something else. You could have focused players solely on one position and did everything else somewhere else. I don't know, but we'll see. Okay, we are in the draft. Pause it. Oh, and it just did the pick for us. Daniel Donald, just like the mock draft said. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Like I said, those mock drafts are pretty much spot on with where the picks are going to go. So let's go ahead now and let's... See, this is different now. Last year... Oh, because I didn't do the thing to guarantee a trade down. Okay, never mind. I was going to say you could trade down before, but because I didn't do any of the scouting points, I probably don't have that guarantee a trade package thing unlocked for franchise. As you can see, I have no franchise points because we suck so bad. I don't know. Anyway, let's go ahead and make our selection. So we can choose from any one of these guys. Let's focus on the quarterbacks right now. Who do we want to be our pick? We have 2 top 5 choices, Terence Dale and Elijah James. Elijah James has had some success. Terence Dale looks like he's sliding a little bit. Let's just take a look at some of these guys and see if maybe there's somebody better. Fast, old school, compact throwing motion. So that's cool. Knows when to throw a ball away. Pocket quarterback all the way through. But look at all of the key ratings that we unlocked. We know this guy is a solid quarterback. We know he has no mobility at all, but look at his throw power. Elite throw power, elite strength. I like that. And then skills, break sack is a B. That's still pretty good. Throw under pressure is an A. Play action B, mid B, short B. This is a really good prospect. Let's compare him to Terence Dale here. Only great throw power, so you know he's obviously better with the arm. And we really don't know much about him. Look at the stuff that unlocked for him. This is another thing you have to look at because even though Terence Dale is listed higher than him, both as a top 5, we know a lot more about the other quarterback compared to Dale here. We don't know. We only know short accuracy, which we always know is usually the best or the highest rated accuracy. We don't know play action. We don't know throw under pressure. We know trucking and stiff arm and juke move, which I don't know why that's what unlocks. You already said he is a pocket quarterback. Why in the world would I care what his juke move is? But we know his awareness is an A. So we're not getting an athlete in either one of these guys. But we know that Elijah James has elite arm strength. What about DJ Porter? He's a round 1 guy, not top 5. So does that mean he's going to be worse? Oh, throw under pressure is a D. And only has good, so he's even worse off than Dale. And again, we don't know much, but we do know that his throw under pressure is horrible. His throw on the run is average at best. His carrying is horrible. We have throw accuracy deep and awareness. That's pretty much the only ones that we have that could show us that he's a decent prospect. So I think that Elijah James is going to end up being the pick here. We need a quarterback. Hopefully we're not this high in the draft again. So let's go ahead. And again, now that I just remember this, look at here. Terence Dale, we focus trained him twice off the 2 extras that you get. Nothing new came up. Not even which talent area he's in. We actually know more almost about Elijah James, a guy we had no focus training on, than we did Terence Dale. Now, like I said, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like they did something way wrong in this thing. Something's not working right. Something is not working right. Let's go and find that receiver that we did before, which I know was way down the list. Yeah, Jonathan Thomas is still 40%. Nothing new. The running back we did, was it Greg Edwards? Nothing new. But the tight end, look at, we know that he is actually a round 1-2 talent. So that's probably going to be our number 2 pick. That's going to be our focus spot. Lamar Barton. After we take, of course, Elijah James from Oklahoma. So let's see. We know he's an 80% done. We know he's projected to be top 5. We know he's got some really good key ratings here. We know he's got elite arm strength. Is he going to be worthy of a pick here, or do we miss? We don't know. That's another part of this that I forgot about.
It's the Vikings.
Yeah, shush. It's not. Wow, that's backwards. We just picked. That's even wrong, Rich Eisen. But anyway, we can see here we got a hidden dev. We see that his athletic ratings and whatnot down at the bottom. He's 94 throw power. That's pretty good. 70 speed. We knew he wasn't going to be a scrambler. And we have hidden dev. But another cool thing, which is, again, is good direction, but not the best follow through. You don't know the overall until after the draft. But you know the overall before the first game of the season. As soon as you get to the draft recap screen, it shows you all of the overalls. What's the point of that? If you're going to do that, I guess this is the fourth and final rant. If you're going to hide the overall, hide it in preseason. I don't know if you guys remember this. There was an older Madden game that you didn't know the ratings of any of the players until after preseason. Some of them would unlock and you would see like roughly what they're going to be around, but you wouldn't know until you got to the regular season, you did cuts, all that stuff. What's the point of hiding it for literally just the rest of the draft? We already picked them. One of those things, you know, half deliveries basically. Half deliveries from EA. Now I'm not going to sit here and go through, but one thing though to look at, let's see if... What in the world? Oh, I have this. That's why I said that. I changed the franchise settings of this to be automatic. So I'm betting it's advancing without me doing anything, which is why it went straight to my next. Yep. Okay. So we'll do manual. I was wondering why it said I was up next, but okay. So either way, I was just about to say I'm not going to sit here and go through the entire draft board. So it's our pick again. We're in the second round here. Who is left on the board? One thing that I really did forget to point out, and I'm sure you probably have seen this already if you've played the game, there's a favorite spot here where you can put players aside that you want to target and to keep tabs on throughout the draft. And it's basically the same exact thing that the draft board was on the old Madden, or in the old scouting system, except now it's named favorites. That's pretty much the only difference. Everything else is the same. You can order it by position, or you can order it, you change the order of it, and you just have to hit the triangle button to add them to it. It's the same exact feature, but it is there for you if you want to use it. So anyway, let's go back to all regions. We got our quarterback. We know now that we have wide receiver, defensive end, corner, and tight end left on our scouts areas of expertise. And let's see what is available. Well, Andrew Mcdowell is actually still available. This is what I was talking about. Some of these guys, what about Mike Freeman here? Mike Freeman has great speed, great pretty much everything. And skills, we know, again, here, look we don't know much about him. We don't know his man or his zone coverage. We know what his block shedding is. I don't know why we would care what his block shedding is. I mean, this could be a player that's going to be garbage and just has an empty trait or an empty projection, or he could be a steal that should have gone 10 picks ago. The same can be said for Andrew Mcdowell, the left tackle here. Let's see, what was his combine grade? Okay, look at that. He's actually got some pretty decent ratings in the key ratings area. I don't know if I can trust this, because the old days with the linemen, if they didn't have a solid draft, like top 5 ratings in the different drills, they usually weren't that good. And it says here his strength is only decent, so we're not gonna take Andrew Mcdowell. Mike Freeman, I'd like to take him here, but I don't trust that. I don't know anything about him. I do like his size, 6'2", 203. That's an ideal size for corner for me. We don't need a running back. Yeah, I think we have to go Lamar Barton. We know what he is. He's a round 1-2 talent. We're in round 2. I can't guarantee he's going to be there when we get to round 3. And there's no other prospect that I'm really in love with right now. Let's just go ahead and take Lamar Barton. Oh yeah, look at that. Catching traffic B. Oh yeah, we're taking him. Hidden dev. We have 2 for 2.
It's the Seahawks on the clock.
Yeah, okay, Rich Eisen, calm down. Look at that. 84 speed, 86 acceleration. You can see here his skills look pretty good. A lot of A's, a lot of B's in areas of importance. So I'm excited to see what he does. We're going to go ahead and just sim to the next pick because, like I said, so we still have some guys that are from the first round. But you remember how the old one was, do you want to take somebody in the third that was projected for the first or second? Now it says Leslie Hughes was moving up the board, so he must have done something good. You also have Jimmy McMahon here. Let's just take a look, because we do need a wide receiver. We also need a corner. This one here, you see that suffers from concentration drops. Like I said, a lot of these you can sort of match up with traits, like suffers from concentration drops is like, I don't know if that's drop ball trait or if that's run after catch trait or possession catch trait. Like I said, I'm still learning this just the same as everybody else. But you can see here, avoids big hits, so he covers the ball well. Wants to take every catch to the house. I'm thinking that wants to take every catch to the house is rack, run after catch, and avoids getting flagged. So he's probably normal for penalty. You can see here, 36 in receiver, not good speed. So we're gonna pass on him. 6'1", 197. We don't know what his man is. He doesn't have the greatest of speed, but his acceleration is elite. And look at that 40-yard dash. How is it not good speed? He ran a 4.41. Man, I almost think we have to take this guy. What kind of skills do we know? We know his awareness is a C, which, I mean, at this point in the third round, you're not going to be finding these guys that are 78 overalls for the most part. I just wish we had at least had man or zone or maybe play rec uncovered, at least one of them, to have a little better idea of what kind of player we were getting. The C awareness could go either way. Guys have been known to come in with low awareness, but it also could mean that he is not a very good prospect. So we'll keep him on the back burner here for a second while we just look quick. Could go John Brown at linebacker. We do need a linebacker. We really do. Tackle is only a C. Great speed, great strength, good acceleration, very fast linebacker. I like that. And we know his play rec is a C. His impact blocking is a D, which I'm not sure if I like that a whole lot. But I don't really know if that makes much of a difference either at the linebacker. His tackling is a C. I wish they'd at least give you the what type of scheme they fit in, because that's not really something you have to scout. All you really have to know is, if you watch game tape, you can pretty much sort of tell, are they a pass coverage type linebacker? Are they a run stopper? You know, are they a pass rusher? That's not exactly a secret. Who was the guy we were looking at? Was it Carlos Harold? Is that the guy? Freddie Aldridge. He jumped up 19 spots. Let's take a look at him. D-man. Okay, we're not looking at you, man. Wow, that's horrible. Justin McLeod, that's day 3. We don't want to jump that far back. Jelani Bush. He's not that well uncovered. Carlos Harold, was that the one that we were... Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Man, this is tough. We took a receiver already? No, we didn't, did we? No, we didn't. Leslie Hughes is still there. Jimmy McMahon is still there. Do we take a shot with Leslie Hughes? Or do we go with Daquan Dunbar? It's just falling down this board hardcore. Why? Elite speed. First? Oh, I'm done. I'm taking him. I don't care. Call me Al Davis. I'm taking him because of his speed alone. Daquan Dunbar. He fell all the way down the board, but he was up there at one point. Boom. Let's take him. Normal dev. 97 speed. Wow. 97 speed. That's awesome. 94 COD, 90 acceleration, 94 agility. I like it. All right, let's get to this next pick here so we can move on. He doesn't have the best ratings. Tell me his speed is good. It's marginal? That's the worst. Golly. Okay, so sorry for that guy. Let's just go to the corners in general, because I know we need one. Jelani Bush is still here. He jumped up a lot. Freddie Aldridge did too, but I think he sucked at coverage. Yeah, D, man. I'm sorry. I can't go any lower than a C on that. I don't know what a D is, but it's You can't tell me it's going to be good. Let's go Jelani Bush here. I forgot he had D as well. Yikes. And that's it. CJ Willis is still there, which I don't know if is a good thing or a bad thing. D-man. Great speed, poor strength. Let's just go ahead and take CJ Willis. We need some secondary. I don't care if we take bad people at this point. This is just to show you guys how this works. Normal, of course.
Seahawks are on the clock. Who do they have their eye on?
91 speed, so decent speed though. He might still be a 62. We'll find out. Jeff Rice. Whoa, he jumped up 75? F awareness. He got an F, but his impact blocking is good. Speed is horrible. Strength is solid. Yeah, no. Oscar Malone. Could take him off of that name alone. But I'm not going to. Roman Flowers, the only one left. 230 pounds, so chances are he's going to be probably more of the pass coverage field general type. He's got C-man coverage. Good speed. Great. I think we have to take him. I think we're going to take Roman Flowers. We need a linebacker. He's the last one here. He fits the mold of what we're looking for. Let's go ahead and take him. Normal dev. That's okay. Change of direction was only 70. That's horrid. All right, this is our last pick. We're just going to take a straight flyer. I have no clue who we're going to take here. Leslie Hughes is still there. Let's take a running back. I love running backs. Chris Carr, Jose Jones, Evan Luckett, Juan Archibald, Dante Boone. Do we have any decent power backs left? Larry Dorsett. Man, you went tumbling. A lot of these guys went tumbling. Daniel Harris moved up. Evan Royal. Bill Rivers. Wow. I don't think I've ever seen a prospect with the first name Bill. Look at that. I have to draft him. I've never seen that. Oh, we're taking Bill Rivers. He's got a good name. Look at that.
Now, it's the Seahawks.
He's going to be like a 70. Steal of the draft. Steal of the draft, I'm telling you. With a name like that, you can't go wrong. Let's go and find out what we had. Draft recap time. Now, this is where you can see the overalls, which makes no sense. So let's see. Oh, wow, we hit on some of these picks. Oh, wow, Bill is not good. Oh. So first we get Elijah James.
This player's development
stop. We know. Yeah, just shush. Oh, so he's actually a 76 overall, but his morale is down right now. Wow, that is some awesome stuff right there. We got a great pick with the first pick. Lamar Barton is a stud. 6'6", 266 pounds, 84 speed, 84 catching. I like that a lot. Daquan Dunbar. Stop. Stop. Anyway, we got Daquan Dunbar. He's a smaller guy, shiftier guy, I'm hoping. 97 speed, 94 cod, 81 juke, 82 spin, 85 return. 75 release is not bad. And I almost took, what was his name? Wow. CJ Willis. Not even, that's really not bad either. He needs to work on zone, but his acceleration is there. He's a zone somehow. Roman Flowers, a normal dev guy, but 65. Not bad. Not bad. And then Bill Rivers. Alright, so I shouldn't have taken him based off the name. But I had to. I had to take him off the name. Alright, so you're gonna get cut, guy. Alright, let's just see now. Really quickly. How bad were we off on some of these guys? There was a couple of key guys. just to sort of see what this draft can look like. So Daniel Donald was, oh wow, we really messed up bad. We messed up bad, guys. This was the guy that they told me I should take, and I said if you guys remember, I said I might take him. 79 overall, are you kidding me? 95 acceleration. I mean, we wouldn't have gotten the quarterback if we took him, so I understand why we did, but man, that's a heck of a player. Terence Dale, here was the guy we were going to take. He was normal. Look at that. We really lucked out on quarterbacks there. Rashawn McIntosh was another good, but normal. Did we get the only... yeah, I think we got the only quarterback out of this group. DJ Porter? Oh, he's got hidden too. So, one of the only two quarterbacks out of this class that mattered. Okay, never mind, 3. But either way, top quarterback, top of the class when it came to overall, plus he has a dev. We made the right choice. We made the right choice. And obviously, we wouldn't have had him. Let's go to round 2 here. We wouldn't have been able to get a quarterback at all at that point. But we did sort of miss out on a few guys. Andrew McDowell, this was the guy we were looking at. He ended up being hidden dev. You gotta be kidding me. Well, it just goes to show sometimes you can't always just go off of your gut feeling. Sometimes the game does know what it's doing. You know, these were some of the guys that it gave us and that I decided to pass on. Tony Manning, are you kidding me right now? DeJuan Jennings, there was a 79 overall in the middle of the second? Oh boy, did I read the room wrong. Okay. All right, well, we've seen this. We've seen enough. That's gonna pretty much end what we have going right now. I really just wanted to come on here and run through this entire draft process and the scouting to show you guys what this new update is all about. I'm glad you guys watched, and I'm hoping that I can do a lot more of these videos touching on different parts of the game and the franchise in general that, you know, are commonly asked questions. If you guys have any thoughts about, you know, what you would want me to see, what you guys would want me to do next, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, thanks for coming by. You guys were hopefully learned something from this, and I'll see you on the next video or the next podcast.